From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. This is Dateline Malacañang in review. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Monday, July 22nd, delivered his State of the Nation Address or Sona at the Batasan Pambansa Complex in Quezon City. This is the President's third Sona since assuming office in 2022. The Chief Executive highlighted the administration's accomplishments during the past year and laid out his plans for this year. President Marcos heeded calls to ban Philippine offshore gaming operators or POGOs in the country, an industry marred by controversies and illegal activities. The President acknowledged that POGOs have already ventured into illicit areas furthest from gaming, such as financial scamming, money laundering, prostitution, human trafficking, kidnapping, brutal torture, and even murder. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. Aside from money laundering activities, crimes attributed to the POGOs have expanded over the past years and now include human trafficking, abduction, homicide, illegal detention, kidnap for ransom, theft, robbery extortion, serious physical injuries, swindling, grave coercion, investment scam, cryptocurrency scam, and love scam. These irregularities have prompted both chambers of Congress to investigate the illicit activities hounding online gambling firms.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. said the Philippines will neither yield nor waver in asserting its rights over the West Philippine Sea or WPS. In his third State of the Nation Address or Sona at the Batasang Pambansa Complex, the President emphasized that peace and community building are always the Philippines' way, especially since the country would be the chair and host of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations or ASEAN Summit in 2026. President Marcos also stressed the Philippines would find ways to de-escalate tensions in contested areas with other claimant nations without compromising the country's position and principles. The President said Philippine laws on its maritime zones and archipelagic sea lanes would make sure that this intergenerational mandate would take root in the hearts and minds of our people. In this regard, President Marcos expressed his thanks along with those of the nation to the armed forces, the Coast Guard, and Filipino fisher folks who continue to go about their lawful mandate in the WPS. He added that this gratitude was only fitting for the sacrifices they made while standing guard over this vital waterway. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Monday thanked United States President Joe Biden for his support to the Philippines in a delicate and difficult time after the American leader withdrew from the race for the U.S. presidency. In an expose, the Philippine president hailed Biden's decision to end his re-election bid, calling it a demonstration of genuine statesmanship. The chief executive wished Biden well for the rest of his presidency and for all his future endeavors. Biden withdrew from the U.S. presidential race and endorsed his Vice President Kamala Harris as the nominee of the Democratic Party. In a statement posted on X, Biden said he believes it is in the best interest of his party and the country for him to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling his duties as president for the remainder of his term. Biden offered his full support and endorsement for Harris to replace him as presidential candidate in the November 5 elections.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Tuesday called on the youth to draw inspiration from the life and works of Apolinario Mabini to become an active contributor to nation building. Speaking at Mabini's 160th birth anniversary commemoration at the Mabini Shrine in Tanawan, Batangas Province, the president honored the sublime paralytic for overcoming his disability and contributing greatly to the revolution against the country's colonizers. Spearheaded by the National Historical Commission of the Philippines, or NHCP, the event honors the heroism and legacy of Apolinario Mabini, who fought tirelessly for the country's independence. It also marks the culmination of National Disability Rights Week, dubbed Promoting Inclusion, Celebrating Abilities, and Advocating Access, highlighting the importance of inclusivity and accessibility for persons with disabilities, or PWDs, nationwide. Let us listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. during the event.
Maraming salamat sa ating National Historical Commission of the Philippines, Commissioner Regalado Jose Jr. Magsiupo tayo. Ang representante ng pangatlong distrito ng Batangas, Representative Maria Teresa Collantes, and the honorable members of the House of Representatives that are here today. Batangas Provincial Vice Governor Mark Leviste III, Tanawan City Mayor, Mayor Nelson Collantes, at lahat ng mga kawani ng pamahalaan ng Tanawan, fellow workers in government, ladies and gentlemen, magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Kaisa ako ng sambayan ng Pilipino sa pagdiriwang ng ika-160 anibersaryo ng kapanganakan ng ating minamahal na bayaning si Apolinario Mabini. Sa araw na ito, inaalala at pinaparangalan natin ang dakilang paralitiko na nag-alay ng kanyang makabuluhang buhay para sa ating bayan. Ipinanganak noong 1864 sa Talaga, Tanawan, Batangas. Lumaki si Mabini sa sadlak ng kahirapan bilang pangalawa sa 8 anak ng isang tindera at isang magsasaka. Sa lahat naman sa material na mayaman, pinunan niya ang kakulangan ito sa pamamagitan ng tiyaga, determinasyon at katalinuhan. Mahusay niyang ipinamalas ang mga ito sa kanyang pag-aaral. Una, sa makasaysayang paaralan ni Padre Valerio Malabanan sa Tanawan, Batangas. Sumunod ay sa Kolehiyo de San Juan de Letran. At ang panghuli ay sa Universidad ng Santo Tomas sa Maynila. Dito siya nag-aral ng abogasya. Dala ang kanyang layuning maipagtanggol ang mga mahirap sa gitna ng matinding pagmamalupit sa ilalim ng pananakop ng mga Kastila. Sa gitna ng kanyang pag-aaral, naging kasapi siya ng La Liga Filipina bilang isa sa mga buong tapang na nagtaguyod ng mga reforma sa panahon ng kolonyalismo. Ngunit nung pinatay si Rizal, lumahok at sumapi si Mabini sa revolusyonaryong puwersa ng Katipunan sa kadahilang nawalan din siya ng paniniwala at pag-asa na magkakaroon ng kompromiso sa pagitan ng Espanya. Sa gitna ng namumuong revolusyon, tinamaan siya ng sakit ng polio at hindi naglaon ay nalumpo at ang kanyang mga binti. Gayunpaman, sa kabila ng kapansanang ito, hindi ito naparalisa ang kanyang nag-aalab na puso at matatag na diwa. Ang kalagayan niya, ang siyang nagbigay lakas sa kanya na gamitin ang talas ng kanyang isip bilang sandata laban sa kawalang katarungan, pang-aabuso at pang-aapi sa mga kapwa Pilipino. Tinaguri ang utak ng himagsikan. Nakapagsulat si Mabini ng ilan sa mga akdang tulad ng El Verdadero Decalogo na nagsilbing gabay ng mga makabayan at revolusyonaryong Pilipino, habang ang kanyang programa Konstitusyon de la República Filipina ay isa sa mga ikinonsiderang maging saligang batas sa Kongreso ng Malolos. At nang maitatag ang ating unang republika, nagsilbi siyang bilang kauna-unahang punong ministro at ministrong panlabas, kung saan ay ipinamalas niya ang kanyang malawak na kaalaman, talino at kakayahan sa pagpapatibay ng ating bagong tatag na bansa. 1 siglo at 2 dekada na lumipas mula nang huling masaksihan ng mundo ang kanyang angking galing. Ngunit walang hanggan ang ating pararangal at para sa kanya at alaala sa paraang nararapat sa kanyang bilang isang tunay na bayaning Pilipino. Tuluyan din nating iniukit ang kanyang pangalan sa mga pangunahing lansangan ng Batangas, ng Maynila at sa ibang parte pa ng bansa. Maraming tulay, gusali, dambana at mahahalagang lugar ang naitayo rin para parangal sa ating bayani. Sa katunayan, sa loob mismo ng sentro ng pambansang pamahalaan, matayog na nakatayo ang kapitag-pitagang Mabini Hall o Bulwagang Mabini, ang pinakamalaking gusali sa buong Malacañang. na sumasailalim sa natatanging lugar ng bayaning tumulong sa paglatag ng pundasyon ng ating republika. Nararapat lamang na ipangalan ang mga istrukturang ito sa kanya dahil dito rin matatagpuan ang mga kapwa kong magagawa sa tanggapan ng Pangulo ngayon na maihahambing ang galing, talino at pagkamakabayan kay Mabini. Ang kanyang ipinamanang lakas ng loob ay nabubuhay sa kanila at sa maraming Pilipino na patuloy na nag-aalay ng kanilang husay at talento para sa patuloy na pag-unlad ng Pilipinas. Tinatawagan ko ang mga kabataang Pilipino ngayon na gawing inspirasyon at halimbawa ang buhay ni Apolinario Mabini upang magpunyagi sa buhay. Naway higit sa maunawaan ng mga nakakabatang henerasyon ang kanyang mga pilosopiyang pampolitika at panlipunan upang sila ay mahikayat na mag-ambag sa pagsulong ng ating bansa. Si Mabini ay nagpatunay sa kaisipan na ang bawat isa sa atin ay may kakayahang gumawa ng pagbabago at tumahak sa sariling landas tungo sa tagumpay, sa kabila ng iniindang kalagayan o anumang pagsubok. Kaya, sama-sama tayong magtulungan upang matiyak na ang mithiin ni Apolinario Mabini sa magpapatuloy na sa bagong Pilipinas, kung saan ang mga mamamayan ay may pagkakataong maging produktibong kasapi ng isang mas makatao at nagkakaisang lipunan. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. Mabuhay Sigat Apolinario, mabuhay Mabini, mabuhay ang bagong Pilipinas.
You just heard Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang suspended work in government offices and classes at all levels in Metro Manila on Wednesday due to the effects of southwest monsoon or habagat and Typhoon Karina. In a social media post, the Presidential Communications Office or PCO said the cancellation is upon the recommendation of the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council or NDRRMC. The suspension, however, does not cover agencies whose functions involve the delivery of basic and health services, preparedness or response to disasters and calamities, and or the performance of other vital services shall continue with their operations and render the necessary services. As for private companies and offices, the suspension of their work and operation is left to the discretion of their respective heads. The habagat or southwest monsoon, enhanced by the typhoon, continued to drench large parts of Luzon and the Visayas, causing floods in several areas. The Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, has ordered its Disaster Response Command Center and field offices to be on highest level of readiness. Based on a July 23rd report of the DSWD Disaster Response Operations Management Information Center, the agency has provided an initial 190,124 pesos worth of humanitarian assistance to the affected localities in Regions 3, 5, and 6. Millions of boxes of family food packs are also pre-positioned in key areas across the country.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Philippines National Capital Region, or NCR, was placed under a state of calamity on Wednesday due to the continuous heavy rains and massive flooding caused by Typhoon Karina enhanced southwest monsoon. The Metro Manila Council, or MMC, consisting of the 17 mayors in the NCR, and led by Department of the Interior and Local Government or DILG Secretary Benher Abalos and Metropolitan Manila Development Authority or MMDA Acting Chair Don Artes, agreed on the decision during a meeting at the MMDA headquarters in Pasig City. 12 mayors from the cities of Caloocan, Pasay, Pateros, Muntinlupa, Mandaluyong, Quezon, Makati, Navotas, Taguig, Pasig, Manila, and San Juan voted in favor of the decision. The rest, those from Malabon, Marikina, Valenzuela, Las Piñas, and Parañaque were unavailable due to the disaster. The declaration of a state of calamity will allow local government units or LGUs to access emergency funds that would enable the swift implementation of relief operations and the deployment of aid to affected residents. In a radio interview, San Juan City Mayor Francis Zamora said, the declaration would allow LGUs to fully use their Quick Response Fund, without which they are limited to only 70% of the fund. On Wednesday, Carina and the Habagat or southwest monsoon dumped heavy to intense rainfall over Metro Manila and other areas of Luzon, resulting in widespread flooding.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. presided over a situation briefing on Super Typhoon Carina for the second straight day on Thursday, July 25th. On Wednesday, the National Capital Region or NCR or Metro Manila was placed under a state of calamity due to widespread flooding caused by the combined effects of the Super Typhoon and enhanced southwest monsoon. While Super Typhoon Carina has exited the Philippine Area of Responsibility or PAR, the southwest monsoon or Habagat continues to bring heavy rains. With Metro Manila under a state of emergency, the government can use its quick response funds for immediate relief and rescue operations in many of the 16 cities and one municipality that comprise the NCR. Additionally, a 60-day price freeze on basic necessities in Metro Manila is now in effect as ordered by the Department of Trade and Industry or DTI. Presenting various updates on the combined effects of Super Typhoon Carina and Habagat were Administrator Nathaniel Servando of the Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Services Administration or PAGASA, Office of Civil Defense or OCD Undersecretary Ariel Nepomuceno, Metropolitan Manila Development Authority or MMDA Acting Chairman Attorney Romando Artes, and Department of Transportation or DOTR Secretary Jaime Bautista, among others. The President also conducted an ocular inspection of affected areas in Metro Manila after the briefing.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Wednesday directed government agencies to focus providing assistance in areas that are isolated as Typhoon Carina and the enhanced southwest monsoon or Habagat continue to batter parts of the country with heavy rains. During a situation briefing at Camp Aguinaldo in Quezon City, the President expressed satisfaction over the government's response so far. The Chief Executive then directed the Department of Social Welfare and Development or DSWD and Office of the Civil Defense or OCD to continue their relief operations, especially those within critical areas. President Marcos Jr. also asked the OCD to immediately identify critical areas. The Philippine President also reminded concerned government agencies to ensure that people have everything that they need. Earlier, the President said some 2.88 billion pre-possession assistance is on standby. Let us listen to the ambush interview of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. after the situation briefing at Camp Aguinaldo.
Para malaman natin kung ano yung areas na hindi pa natin napupuntahan. So, kaunti lang naman ang instruction na binigay ko sa grupo dahil
maganda naman ang response natin. So far, sinabihan ko lang sila mag-focus lang ng mabuti doon sa mga areas na sa hanggang ngayon ay hindi pa natin may pasok. So yun ang magiging next na priority na gagawin ng DSWD, pati na siyempre Public Works, because kung yung mga daan na landslide, kailangan magtulungan sila ng LGU para i-clear yung daan. The only other main issue was the suggestion that the entire Metro Manila will be put under a state of calamity. And this is because talaga hindi maganda ang flooding dito, ang nangyari dito sa Metro Manila. Especially in the traditional low-lying areas like Navotas, like in Malacanyang, these are all these places that mababa talaga sa dagat yan, lagi nababaha. Nasira pa yung flood control natin, dahil binangga ng barko. Kaya halos lahat ng bayan ay nasa nakalubog sa tubig. So led by our DLD Secretary, together with the Mayor Zamora, who is siyang namumuno ng buong Metro Manila Mayor, sila magpo-convince sila mamaya after this para makapag-decide kung talagang kailangan ba mag-state of calamity ang buong NCR.
Sir, hindi kayong mag-declare ng state of calamity?
No. We don't. Actually, usually, ang state of calamity is the LGU executive. Pag regional, it's because nagkasabay-sabay. Magiging calamity sa pagka 3 regions ang involved, then already the national has to come in. That's a national calamity already. Wala na kaming choice to pasok ng national. But it's up to the local communities to decide because they know best. They know best what they need. It is also yung pag-declare ng state of calamity, it's also to access funds para makapag-access na sila ng funds. Kasi nauubos na yung kanilang emergency na reserve, upuha sila sa national. So that's what we're working on now.
Sir, hindi mo ba kailangan ng Calabarzon, Regis Street, and Metro Manila, NCR na tatlo na po yun?
Well, kaya nga, nasa sa kanila yan. It is up to them. That is very much a local prerogative.
Sir, how about the flood control project? Kumusta po yung situation?
I don't think we can really talk about that now. What we need to talk about is how to bring help to the people who are in trouble.
So
You just heard Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Thursday directed government agencies and local government units or LGUs to include specific data related to damages caused by Typhoon Karina. With this, according to the President, the government can respond accordingly, particularly depending on the needs of the victims of the typhoon, especially provinces, municipalities, and cities that have different needs. In a situation briefing, the chief executive said he needs to know how many were stranded, where are they, and what is the situation in their area. With this, President Marcos said the government can maximize its limited assets and assistance can be provided faster to affected residents. The President said the national government needs to know the actual situation of each affected area in order to decide whether relief trucks can enter, undergo clearing operations, dig out mud, and other immediate assistance.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Thursday held a situation briefing prior to visiting the cities of Valenzuela, Malabon, and Navotas to inspect areas still inundated by floodwaters caused by Super Typhoon Karina and the enhanced southwest monsoon or habagat. With Super Typhoon Karina finally off the Philippine Area of Responsibility or PAR, the government has undertaken rehabilitation and recovery efforts, with the chief executive instructing all government agencies to identify and concentrate support on areas that remain impassable. Since the onslaught of the Super Typhoon, the Office of the Civil Defense or OCD has reported that an estimated 189,014 families or 910,536 individuals have been affected, with 13 reported deaths, 2 injured, and 2 missing. As a result of La Mesa Dam overflowing, areas in Valenzuela City remained submerged, reaching up to waist-high of floodwater. Meanwhile, the cities of Malabon and Navotas are still flooded due to damages in the Navotas floodgate after a barge forcibly entered the channel from the sea going to the shipyard in the city on June 7th. Department of the Interior and Local Government or DILG Secretary Ben-Hur Abalos Jr. reported that Ipo Dam is currently releasing water and that the DILG, along with dam administrators and managers, have been continuously sending advisories and notices to affected local government units or LGUs. Furthermore, several government agencies have pre-positioned their assets and provided essential kits to evacuees such as blankets, slippers, banig, pillows, food and personal kits, as well as hygiene kits.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, following his inspection of flood-affected areas in the cities of Valenzuela, Malabon, and Navotas due to the combined effects of Super Typhoon Karina and the enhanced southwest monsoon on Thursday, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. answered questions from the media. The president said he wants to see the condition on the ground so that the government can address the situation properly. Let's listen to the interview of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
The reason I did this was to really inspect because I wanted to see what the situation was. It's really different reading the piece of paper than actually seeing it and seeing what people have to go through. So, Valenzuela has the usual problem. Talagang basin yan lagi nababaha ang Valenzuela. But marami na silang flood control, pero nasa pawan itong sa dami ng tubig. So we have to relook, we have to re-examine some of the designs of our flood control. For example, this was not, the amount of water was not as bad as Ondoy. But the effect was greater than Ondoy. Mas malaki ang baha. Mas maraming nabaha na lugar kaysa panahon ng Ondoy. Mas marami tayong flood control ngayon kaysa noon. Pero climate change, this is what the effects of climate change are. What we have seen is that one of the most important parts that nagka-problema was that navigation gate that we went to na nasira because binangga ng isang barko basta hindi sumunod sa instruction, sinira niya. That is why Navotas is still 80% underwater. Malabon the same, Valenzuela also. So we have to really look into that sort of thing. Yung pumping stations natin, marami na. Yun, nakaproblema lang, sana matuto naman ng tao, huwag kayong nagtatapon ng basura dahil yung basura yun ang nagbara doon sa mga pump natin. Kaya hindi kasing effective na pwede. Dahil Navotas yung 81. In Valenzuela, I think they have 32. So marami na yung pumping station. Pero talaga, you have to put it somewhere. So yesterday, 12 o'clock was high tide. 12 o'clock noon, nag-high tide. Nagsabay-sabay, para malakas ang ulan, tapos nag-high tide. So at least now I'm very clear about what the situation is. I will be
going to inspect all the other areas when when we can travel and to see what else is needed in the other parts of the country that suffered flooding. Now, when I get back to the office, I will be putting together, now that I know what the situation is, where the areas are that need the most. We'll be putting together already the release packages for the LGUs. Because here in NCR, not only NCR, in Region 3, in Calabarzon, NCR, marami nang tumawag sa akin kanina umaga pa. So we'll put that all together so that we can go to DBM and tell them to release this already para magamit na ng ating mga local officials. Alright? Okay, thank you.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, Radio Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service is heard over the following shortwave frequencies: 15.640 MHz, 17.820 MHz, and 12.010 MHz. You can also visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel at Radio Pilipinas World Service. You will be able to hear and view our Filipino and English programs, including news updates here in the Philippines. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our posts as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang in Review. For Radio Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.